Today, on Destination Polaris, we travel to an off-road mecca.
Utah is like the 8th wonder of the world.
Slot canyons and ancient relics.
It's America's best kept secret.
Destination Polaris starts right now.
Destination Polaris is presented by Rugged Radios, the authority in communications.
Welcome to Destination Polaris. We are in Utah, just outside the back entrance of Zion National Park. Over my shoulder here, the belly of the dragon, and that's where we're headed right now.
I assume most of you have heard of Zion National Park. But if you haven't, and you don't know where it's at, then listen up. Zion National Park is located in southwestern Utah. It's 2 hours from the north rim of the Grand Canyon, or just a couple hours east of Las Vegas.
We're located on the backside of Zion's National Park.
Mark Allred runs Zion East Adventures. They rent razors and slingshots.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime deal to see what we have to offer people. We can go all the way to the national park.
I've known Mark for a couple of years, and he offered to be our host and guide for the next 3 days.
We're going to take you to Peekaboo, Slot Canyon. We're also going to take you through Diana Rappels, the Coral Pink Sand Dunes, and then through the barracks.
Now, you can't off-road inside Zion, but outside the park, have at it.
300 miles of trails where you can ride wherever you want.
We also invited the guys from MSA Wheels and EFX Tires. They brought the bling.
I was stoked. I love Utah. I love this area. Been to Moab before. I was excited to see what this area of Utah had to offer.
It's one of the bucket list places that's been on my list forever. You know, to see the eastern part of Zion, it's absolutely amazing.
The first stop of many is Belly of the Dragon. But to get there, you must pass through Diana's Rappels.
Diana's Rappels, you need a guide to go through that.
The tricky part of this ride, the staircase section. Make it past the stairs, and you arrive
You call this the hallway,
I do.
right?
at Diana's Rappels.
And people repel down this right here.
They do.
This is our first slot canyon.
When we get flash floods, it'll all come right down here. And
Screaming through this little spot, huh?
we really have to watch it during monsoon season.
Yeah, because it can come out of nowhere, right?
Absolutely. and this turns into quicksand. It's easy to get stuck in and you're not getting out.
It's pretty rad stuff here, Mark. We're gonna try to go underneath this?
You choose. Are you gonna go over it or are you gonna go under it?
Well, I wanna know, like, if I get down, if I can get back up. In. All right, guys, that's the end of that.
Cut to commercial.
Guys, a little help here?
I feel like you guys wanted me to go down here, so you'll just leave now.
You can't go to Belly of the Dragon without me.
Yeah, right?
Can you?
I made it.
This is Belly of the Dragon.
This is Belly of the Dragon.
Yeah. This is man-made. Right up above us is Highway 89, and they needed drainage to be able to come through, which enters into the Virgin River right here.
How far does it go?
Almost 100 yards.
Okay.
It's a big belly.
You know, we started walking through, there must have been 10 of us, and now there's just 6.
That's called attrition.
It's attrition.
One belly and one slot canyon down. We're just getting started.
Still to come, we're gonna show you where to find this hoodoo. Yep, I said hoodoo. You're watching Destination Polaris. Welcome back to Destination Polaris. We are in southern Utah, and one of the main reasons why we're here is to go in search of slot canyons, just like this one.
One of the more well-known slot canyons outside Zion National Park
And there's lots of them,
is Peekaboo.
but you gotta know where to look.
It's all a sandstone mountain range. All has beds of sand and waterways going through it. This just happens to be one of the many slot canyons that are here.
We're just gonna call this a Dominic Muter.
Dominic Vanucci is another friend of mine.
Right next to my tramps.
Look at this. What guy has this?
But when you hang with Dom,
What real man has this?
you best be on your toes.
What real man?
Were you conscious when that happened to you?
That was
or-
pretty rad though, man.
You know, we didn't invite him.
No, I'm always invited. You didn't know?
He just sort of showed up.
That's how I do it. It's the weasel maneuver, and you hear something, you make yourself part of it. No invitation needed. Nobody wants that anyway.
I guess now that you're here, why don't you show us around Peekaboo?
This one is unique because you can get to it by a side-by-side. A lot of slot canyons you're gonna have to rappel into from a high mountain range. You could actually drive a four-wheel drive up to the mouth of this slot canyon and see all of what slot canyons have to offer. Okay, a slot canyon is a waterway in between a mountain range. Now, it could start off as a crack, and over time, erosion, water, wind, sand is gonna come through and widen that crack. Once it widens, you can actually walk, climb, crawl through essentially a slot in the middle of a large canyon.
A canyon
Good luck up there, buddy.
Right?
with serious power.
I don't like this part. Starts to get a little slick right here.
During monsoon season, water rushes through these canyons, making them extremely dangerous.
All of the water rushing through at any time, you have minutes to get out. You would like to see the water rush through. I'm glad we didn't.
During the dry months, they're packed with visitors.
That is ancient coral reef.
Dom's been here a number of times and wanted to show me something most people miss.
So everyone goes down the slot canyon.
Yep.
And you're like, you gotta come up here and see this.
That's exactly right. It's called a hoodoo, H-O-O-D-O-O.
And what is a hoodoo?
It's an erosion of rock, layered sedimentary rock. And it looks like any second it would fall over.
Right?
Imagine how long that thing's been eroding just to get to its current state that it's at right now.
All right, Dom, the hoodoo will help erase that memory of your back tat. Between Dom and Mark, these guys know all the cool secret spots.
You can jump in one of these off-road vehicles and be followed by a tour guide that knows more about the area than you'll ever know.
So Peekaboo's down there.
Right down here, this little crack too.
One of Mark's favorite locals-only places is located high up on a ridge
I feel like a mountain goat right now.
just a few miles from Peekaboo.
That doesn't even look real.
So the Native Americans would do smoke signals right there, and then everyone would come and meet right around the corner here.
Really? For the party?
There'd be a party.
Petroglyphs line this rock face
It looks like a deer almost right there, right?
overlooking the canyon.
The petroglyphs were at the top of my list because you just got to see what their life was all about, and they wanted to depict it.
If you can actually understand it, it does tell a story. Here's some more pottery for you. Different colors, different textures.
What'd you break, Jared?
Well, Mark says this is pieces of pottery you can find up here. I think he's been dropping it since we got up here. And it's like, hey, look what I found, but
We'll leave it here though.
Wow, outstanding. It really blew my mind in all regards. We had riding of every variety and things to see that I never expected to. And we all got to go and see them together and have a heck of a time doing so.
yeah, this is pretty wild.
And we're just getting started. Still to come, a visit to the cathedral. You're watching Destination Polaris.
Welcome back to Destination Polaris. We've been hanging with the folks from Zion East Adventures. Let's go inside and plan our next ride. Hey guys,
Hi,
how's it going?
it's going great.
It's going great. So where are we going today?
Oh, you guys are going to the barracks.
Mark and wife Brenda own Zion East Adventures.
So you'll be traveling your way there and you'll make it all the way to the cathedral. It's amazing. You're gonna love it.
She said amazing twice. I think we should go.
Their tour company is located in Mount Carmel Junction.
It's 13 miles just outside of Zion's and 17 miles north of Kanab and about an hour and a half south of Rice.
It's the hub for all the national parks.
We have the north rim of the Grand Canyon, Lake Powell, Bryce Canyon, Zion's. You just can't go wrong.
In town, you'll find a gas station, hotel, and restaurant.
Homemade pie.
Oh, I had some homemade pie, and it was outstanding. I had the apple homemade pie. Lived up to everything that I had heard.
I can't decide one bite or two.
We made Mount Carmel our base camp for 3 days.
It's a blip on the map, but man, there was everything you needed right there within walking or a quick UTV ride.
On today's ride, we're headed to the barracks along the East Fork of the Virgin River. We'll ride in water, dirt, sand, rocks, you name it. So we asked the guys from MSA and EFX to hook us up.
Well, we brought out 5 new wheel styles from MSA. We wanted to see them on some of these nice new rides, and matched with the EFX tires, we wanted to really see what we could do with them.
We brought 4 different tires. You're looking for a hookup, how the tire feels going in and out of different situations, whether that's rock, going into sand.
You've got a myriad of different applications in general. Once you get past the aesthetics, you're looking at how they're built, where they're made, and you've got a couple of variables when it comes to design and make, I should say. So if it's a beadlock or non-beadlock, both applicable in different scenarios.
Now that we all have new shoes, let's go. The East Virgin River empties into Zion, and it can be tricky to navigate.
You actually cross the Virgin River 21 times, and that could be sometimes 25, sometimes 18, depending on what the river's done during the season.
But today,
it's a lot of river crossings.
The river is just low enough that we shouldn't have any problems.
I was keeping a close eye on it for sure. There's markers that we can watch to see where it's at, so we know it's safe.
I like water crossings. I like 1 or 2 water crossings. And there was about 25 or 30. Towards the end, I was kind of over the water.
Yeah, wet and sandy, man.
Utah local Jeff Barnes rides a lot.
It's awesome. It's definitely something I would recommend for people to try.
But today was new for him.
It's cool to be able to ride past something like that, and you're flying through a machine having a blast, but at the same time you're in some of the most beautiful country. The green pasture is just amazing.
The green pasture sits next to the cathedral.
It makes you realize how little and insignificant you are as like a thing on this earth, you know? You're nothing more than like a speck.
What a way to end the day. And we've still got one more place to ride. Buckle up, you're watching Destination Polaris. Welcome back to DP. We're just outside Zion National Park. Slot canyons, petroglyphs, and river crossings made up our first couple of days.
Utah is absolutely my favorite place to adventure to. I've done a lot of adventure travel all throughout the United States on 2 wheels and on 4 wheels, off-road and on-road, and it is by far the best place to off-road.
We've covered dirt, rock, water, and now it's time to cut loose in the sand.
One of the most beautiful sand dunes I've ever seen in my entire life. It's an area like most sand dunes, but the color of it is actually different. They call it coral pink for a reason. It has more iron in the sand from all the natural sandstone around. So it's actually turned the sand dunes an orangish pink.
Way more sand than I ever expected. There's more sand here than the beach in California.
Honestly, I haven't done a lot of dune riding before, and having an experienced guy driving me was a heck of a time. Just going almost vertical against a wall and just slamming it and throwing that sand around was really outstanding. And pretty much it just rode on rails after a while, and you just kind of hung on and pushed it harder.
It was really nice to see how the tires perform in sand, because these are tires normally you don't run in sand.
We followed the trail of sand to Red Canyon. Our last and most impressive slot canyon.
This one is pretty phenomenal. Just the grandeur of everything and how small you feel when you're looking at it or standing in it is something to marvel at.
People ask me all the time, where's the best place to ride? I tell them, hands down, Southern Utah.
You can look at a picture, but you don't know what it is until you actually are in there and you see it firsthand, and it'll blow you away.
Wave the white flag. We surrender, Mark.
I don't have to sell it. It sells itself.
Utah, you win.
When are we going again? Why do we do this once a year?